So today, in one of the probably the second last video of this sequence on the vintage truck, we're looking at the design element and then spray painting afterwards. So what you're asked to do in this project is you have to design a back axle. We have two holes here, there's another one in behind, and it will go across there obviously and hold on to this back axle for the truck. So we want to look at how we might design that and work out its dimensions and go ahead and make that. So the parts I'm looking at, I think I'm going to work on as a very, very simple shape, like this. That'll do. The axle can go across here, and then we've two holes on top to attach to the back bars going back. So we have to work out the dimensions for this part. Also, when it's laid out flat before the bending, it's going to have a shape. We're going to bend it there and there. We'll have a hole here, here, here and here. So that's what it'll look like flat, and we'll work those out, work out the dimensions now. So the dimensions between these two holes is easy enough to work out because we have the part that goes underneath, or sorry, on top. If we look at our drawing again, it's this part here, and that already has holes in it that line up with the other holes. So when I look at that and I measure the distance between the two holes, or if I look at the drawing, I'll find out that it is 56 millimeters between the two centers. So that's easy enough for this bit. Those two holes are going to be 56. From there to there and there to there. So that's easy enough. The width of this piece here, which is the next thing I want to look at, really should be the same width as the truck body here. So if we look at our drawing for the truck body, we can see that this is the width from the center line up to this line here, which is 10 plus 18 plus 8, which is 18 and 18, which is 36. Multiply that by 2 to get the other side as well, we get 72 in total. So I think that that's a good width for our part. So we can say 72 there. These downward sections then, they're going to be bent at 90 degrees. All the holes are going to be diameter 3.5. I'll double check that now in a sec. Give me 1 second, I want to check if the holes for the axles are the same. So I just checked that, and the holes for the axles here, they're it's M4 axles, so 4.5 is what we want there. So I'll just take that down as well. Now, we've only really one, well, I suppose we'll make that height 10, going down here. We've only one real problem. How high do we want this hole to be in that 10 length? And I would like my truck to be level, so I think I need to look at those drawings and try and work out what sort of a distance down I should come to the hole. So it's that distance there we're looking at, and we have to work that out next. So this is our piece, and this is where that's going to be. So we need to get a hole that matches up with the same height as this one, but out here lining up with those holes, which you can't see, but they're just there. The way to do that is to figure out with measurements. So we'll do a simple drawing. So we have our piece, comes down. We have two holes here to hold the back leg on. We have the hole for the axle. This comes straight out. And we want our bar, this section here, coming down here. And we want this hole to be on the same height as that hole. Now I know in the drawing they're not, but that's not important. If we look at our drawing here again, and we want to look at the distance difference between these two holes here and this one. So from these two holes down to the bottom is 18, and then back up 5 gives us a gap of 13 between that height and that height. So that means that from the centers here to the center here is 13. Okay, so we know that. So now we want from the center here down to here, the center of those holes, also to be 13. So let's start working this out. Okay, well we know the centre here is, this is 15. That means it's 7.5 to there. So we want our hole then down 13 minus 7.5, which is 5.5. So that's actually how far down we want that. So this distance here is 5.5. So if we try and measure out this a little bit better, we want this section to be 10. Whoops, 10. We want this distance to be 5.5. The distance from here to here, that's 5.5 again, is 72. And the width is the only thing we're left with. 10 or 12 millimeters would be fine. 12 gives me a little bit more to work with, and we'd have the holes in the center of that either way. I think I might go with 12. Might look a bit better. So I'm going to check the width of this piece and see if that, yep, that's 12, so we'll go with 12. So that's basically what we need to work out. And here we have a piece that hopefully will work. So the total length here is 72 plus 10 plus 10, which is 92. That's over 92 and is definitely over 12. So I'm going to mark out this piece according to these dimensions. Okay, so I just put some marking blue to highlight the markings when they happen. So let's start with the thickness of the material. So I want to measure up 12 here, and I'm also going to mark 6. I'm going to do the same down the other end. And join those up with lines. Alright, so everything up here is waste. I'll cut that off in the guillotine later on. And now we can do our measurements across from one side. So I'm going to go down to this bottom corner here, bottom left corner, and start marking off the measurements. So our hole is 5.5 from this bend line, which means it's 4.5 from here. So I'll go there, mark 10, that's going to be a bend line. We want to go 72 from that first of all. So that'll be up to 82. And 92 will be the end of the piece. And 82 plus 5.5 is 87.5. Right, and we also need these holes in the middle. So 56 from 72 is 16. Yep. So 16 in from 8 in from each line. So one hole should go here. It's 8 in from each bend line. And 8 in there. In case you're wondering what did I do there, 72 is the total gap. I took 56 from that, which gave me 16, which means 8 of it must be on this side and 8 on this side. So I'm going to T-square those lines up now. We just need to cross the center line here. We have a bend line here. Cross the center line for a hole that we're going to drill. Flip that around. That mark there is the end of the piece. Hole for a drill. Bend line. And drill the hole again. And that's it, we're all just about marked out. I just want to punch where I'm going to drill now. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to drill these holes. These outside to, I'm going to drill 4.5, the inside to 3.5, and on the guillotine I'm going to cut off this section out here and the top section, and then I'm just going to bend these two parts to 90 degrees. And there we go, that's the piece completed. It only took about 3 minutes to get all that done, and that should do the job nicely. Now the rest of this video is just going to be taken up with spray painting and getting all the pieces clean. I'm just going to give you an idea now of what I'm going to be doing. So these are all the pieces that we had to manufacture except for the headlights and the front grille part, which I'm not going to be doing anything further to except polishing. So what are we going to, I'm going to do nothing to these three parts. This is underneath the body and this is inside in the cab, or sorry, inside in the kind of the engine area. You're not going to see them at all, so it's a waste of time actually painting them or anything. They're not going to corrode. The bonnet itself I'm going to emery paper and clean up and then polish, and then covered in a coat of clear lacquer to make it nice. These three parts, the cab and the bits that go over the wheels, the front wheels, emery paper, undercoat, and then spray them red. And the remaining parts then, the main body, the axle supports and the back bars, these are all going to be emery papered, undercoat, and then spray painted black. So the rest of the video basically is going to be a montage of those different things happening as they work along, just photographs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video for assembly and the electronics involved in this project. Bye.